Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, consulting firm here in Connecticut. We've been involved with quality for over 40 plus years. We've been involved with aerospace, medical implants, medical materials, printing, and plastic distribution, where where we dealt with just about every industry under the sun. I'm going to be reading you a complimentary letter and also a very insightful letter from Jack. Jack put this item together. I'm very impressed with what he said, and I'm very honored because I've known him for a long time, and it takes a lot to impress Jack. This is based on the document I sent him. I most recently got published, and the document is who is responsible for quality, who is responsible for manufacturing quality at QA expert Daryl Guberman explains. Well, I'm not going to show you everything. I will show you some things, but I want you to understand this. Quality is out of control. Just 2 weeks ago, Ford had 875,000 cars recalled. I think Honda had another issue with airbags killing people, 120,000 cars. You have Elon Musk, 1.1 million cars in China got recalled because of quality issues. And the sad part is because it's Elon Musk, everybody dusts this off. It's not happening. Well, the funniest part is I put something up on Twitter saying, Elon, don't go for International Automotive Task Force, even though they're trying to pressure you, because that certificate is worth shit. It really is. Look at all these recalls and who they have on their boards. Chrysler, GM, Ford, they have Mercedes, they have all these major car companies, and they still can't produce cars properly. So, a big word that ANSI uses is voluntary. Voluntary. Another is impartial. And one thing that I want to tell you is this. This came right off ANSI's website. Right off of it, okay? And I'm going to give you examples of the bullshit that they give. And if you're ISO 9001 or AS 9100 or ISO 1345 or any ISO derivative, that you have registrars BSI, BVQI, Perry Johnson, who are all accredited by ANSI ANAB many times and have the IAF symbol on it, then you should take your American flag down and put up a Chinese flag because you deserve it. You really do. Because this is what ANAB says, ANSI ANAB. Accreditation is voluntary. Accreditation by ANAB provides an exemplary level of credibility and integrity. Now, these four companies I'm going to give you, you tell me, exemplary. Listen to the words, exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust. You can't trust those people at all. And before I go into it, I want you to listen to Joe Battia. Joe Battia, chairman of ANSI, he gave two speeches back to back, about 6 to 8 months apart. And you really have to listen to this because I just couldn't believe it myself. Let me see where he is. He is here. Here he is. And here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Joe Battia. Let me bring him out. And here's what he said. Listen to the interview. Sounds the same. It sounds like they spliced it, though. Here it is.
You really want to have your competitor dictate the future of how you do business, and that competitor could be somebody not just from U.S., but somebody from China.
And it's 6 to 8 months later. Here.
Your competitor dictate the future of how you do business. You need to be engaged.
One says you need to be engaged. The other says, would you really want to be bossed around by China? Well, he's in bed with China. I guess he likes Chinese food. Anyway. So going back to this whole integrity deal, okay? ANAB accreditation by ANAB provides an exemplary level of credibility and integrity. Okay, let's just show you incredible. By the way, ANSI and ANAB are underwriters for the IAF, International Accreditation Forum Incorporated in Delaware. And also ILAC, the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. So, let me tell you about exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust. Boeing got caught fudging documentation. Is that ANAB's provides an exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust? You have AOG Technics, who supplied fudged documentation to the aerospace community, especially engines, GE. And more than likely, they were accredited since they were in England by UKAS. I would be very surprised if they were not, but they made everything disappear because UKAS doesn't want a black eye on that. They're very much up the asses of the English government. So AOG, fudging documentation, they learned it from Boeing. Okay, Boeing is the major OEM in the, in as far as commercial airliners in America, the original equipment manufacturer. So they fudge documentation. Does that show with AOG, ANAB provides exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust? Now we move up to Lockheed Martin. They produced 801 on the 801st ship, F-35. They still have quality issues up to including a loss of aircraft and a loss of life. Is that accreditation by ANAB provides an exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust? Does it? And then we go over to Pfizer. Pfizer, who produced a lot of COVID vaccine. There's been problems, as we all know, but they skipped quality processes and standards, and they sit on ANSI's board. Now, does this accreditation by ANAB provide an exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust? Because this is what they're telling you. They're telling you this on ANSI's website. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. The next one is Johnson & Johnson. Another one, skipping quality processes, all the rest of that. And guess what? They recalled 75 million, 75 million vials of COVID. Was this showing that the accreditation by ANAB provides an exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust? And most of you don't give a flying fuck about that, do you? You don't care about America, though you're going to say, Daryl, you're wrong. By you maintaining and retaining a certificate that is telling you that by having this certificate, we provide an exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust, that means you're just as fraudulent as they are. The products you produce are in jeopardy, just like every one of those organizations that ANSI ANAB watches over. Or do they watch? No. They only collect their money. So, you have Lockheed, also Lockheed LCS Littoral Battleship, a lot of quality issues. Boeing, I already told you, fudging documentation. Lockheed, did his thing. Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, same quality issues. And sitting on ANSI's board are of government agencies like the FBI, CDC, NIH, FAA, FTC, USDA, FDA, and so many others. It's disgusting. I want to read to you Jack's wonderful letter. And this also came off ANSI ANAB's website. I have the link. What are the benefits of accreditation? Most important, accreditation assures industry and government decision makers that accreditation organizations are competent and their results can be relied upon. And let me tell you about government. Are you kidding me? Look at government. They're buying all these F-35s with our tax money, and Lockheed still can't get their shit together to make them at least an aircraft that has one or two rejections. It's a complex, I call it's a complex organism. It really is. But can't they get there after 801 ships? They still have problems? Oh my God. That's why we call it obfuscation. Obfuscation is the action of making something obscure, unclear, and unintelligible. And it really is. And the last thing I'm going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, is I just want to show you this. This is ISO IEC 1711 for registration companies and accreditation bodies. If you go to 4.4 and you find out about impartiality and you read it, and read it well, because I've read that whole standard, you will find out that there is no connection. You should not have financial connection to an accreditation body. If you're the government, etc. Well, sitting on ANSI is NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, with Gordon Guberman. At the time that I exposed this, he was making $120,000, not taxed. as a royalty payment. And then you had Phil Mastin at DHS, who also is another in for ANSI. All of them have these titles like management specialist with standard operation at DHS. He was making $256,000 tax-free, plus both of them, the DHS, both of them are getting their salaries from the federal agency. This is what Jack wrote. Jack's a specialist in good manufacturing practices. And after this, I'm done, and I will let you go back to whatever you're doing. Hopefully watching your product fly out the door beautifully without any rejections. Common sense, Daryl, common sense would dictate that one cannot overlook or certify your own self. Nonetheless, the federal government made inclusions into good manufacturing practices protocol and through the CFRs, Code of Federal Regulations. One department, entity, or division of the same organization or group must have a separate group to overlook any quality issues, processes, or procedures to assure an effective and impartial result or resolution. The fact alone that they're overlooking their own processes is against the Code of Federal Regulations. This is an unethical process and a clear manipulation of their quality results. No matter what the circumstances may be, they will, ANSI, ANAB, IAF, ILAC, NIST, certify their own companies such as Pfizer, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, also Johnson & Johnson, FDA, FBI, etc. Until an independent entity overlooks the aforementioned operations, it is like a parent grading their own child to pass a class. It's incredible. The amount of inaccurate and improper quality certifications is inconceivable. The irony of getting away from the aforementioned is mind-boggling. And I will tell you something. My name is Daryl Guberman. I am the CEO of Guberman PMC LLC. I tried as I may to get on the board, which I saw their lackadaisicalness and non-management style, because if somebody like me was knocking on the door, let them in. But they didn't. They slipped. They didn't slip. They didn't want me to be elected because Russ Cheney, who was there, who in 2009 contacted me. In fact, I'm not going to go into that. I've already done it 1,000 times. You'll find a video that I did on Larry, who also sent me a nice letter. His is going to be down below. You'll hear all of Russ Cheney's mess. But I will say this. I will be the oversight for these nightmares. I can clean it up within 6 months to 1 year because it really needs an enema. From ANSI's Joe Batia, Russ Cheney, and also Jameson Carroll, and of course, their directors at large, who must agree with what Russ Cheney says when he said to me over the phone, half a nut, fuck you. And I say this to Joe Batia, to Jameson Carroll, and also Russ Cheney. All I wanted was an apology. Now you get to take the wrath of me. You can send me a lawyer's letter, cease and desist. I will not listen. Okay, I will not listen. There's too many of my videos out. There's too many articles out. You've been exposed. You know, Joe, and I will say this. Let's see if I have them. I thought he was going to be a true leader because a leader would take the situation, worked with the attorney, and sat down and wrote an apology letter. But they didn't want that because they thought that I was going to go on video and read it, which I would have done, which they would have, were right. But I went down and I picketed them because of those words that they used, very unprofessional. As some of my colleagues said to me, Daryl, everybody says half a nut, fuck you, or fuck off, or what. Coming from a chairman is like Jim Tassett from Lockheed saying, fuck you, on camera, on a microphone, talking to his company. Or David Calhoun at Lockheed saying the same thing. When you hear such language coming from a chairman, that to me is an organization that is in the trash. My telephone number is 203-556-1493. And my email address is Daryl, DARYL, TQRS @yahoo.com. And I say this again. It is easier to believe a lie that one has heard 1,000 times than to believe a fact like we say. And that was from A.A. Milne. Or it's easier to believe a lie that one has heard 1,000 times and a fact that no one has heard before. And Thomas Paine said this, when speaking the truth, it's many times like administering medication to the dead. So ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are ANSI ANAB accredited, once you read my article, you'll take your certificate from ANSI ANAB and you should make it into a paper airplane and throw it out the window. I can assist you with accreditation and certification. I've been doing it now for a long time. And my customers supply to these aerospace companies because they're so big, they can't collect everybody. But I have lost some in the past. It's the ebb and flow of business. The funniest thing is one of these people said to me, Brian, he said, Daryl, I have to take the road of least resistance. And if you're running the company like that, you're going to be filing Chapter 13 relatively in a couple years because that's the mentality of a failure. That's what that is. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for the length, but it is the truth, and the truth will set you free.